Hey, everybody, this is Once Steve, and welcome to the Director's Chair, where we bring you some of the most dynamic, visionary directors in the business. I'm so proud of this one young man. He is truly cutting his own path in Hollywood and around the world. Sixx King.
How are you, my brother? Thank you. Thank you so much, man, for that introduction. I'm humbled, to just be on this platform.
Now, when you think about movement and telling stories, why is it important to tell the stories that you're telling?
It's important to tell the stories that I am telling because we have to be the author of our stories. They are entrenched in levels of dysfunction can be one of them, but also beauty and also success and those things that we rarely hear about and we rarely see about in media today. It's all dysfunction. There's a reason why there's more dysfunctional shows than there are shows that really tell a story of just beauty and love and peace and happiness and trials and tribulations and those things that we go through. So, if we want a different narrative, we have to be the author. I truly believe that.
When you think about it, you use a special word, and it's pretty much a passcode we're getting in a lot of places. People use it, but rarely seen when you put the word BLACK on the front of it, Black Love. You've decided to stick your pen and directorship in the area of Black Love. Why is Black Love important?
Black love is important for so many different reasons. There's a plethora of reasons of why it's important, but I think my why is that we know that Black love has been on the target of mainstream America since the first enslaved ships arrived. And so the louder voices would have you think that we have this disconnect between Black men and Black women, which is really untrue. It's just we still having Black babies and Black weddings and Black things and Black situations, and it's not as dire as we see it in the media. So it was important for me to lead with that and to also be that loud voice of my grandparents, of my parents that are not on social media talking about these 40, 50, 60, 70-year stories and amplifying that over, just the debauchery and the tragedy and the things that we hear. I wanted to be a broader voice and a louder voice for that community that exists and thrives and that we see it at our family reunions. They're just not on social media. They're not saying we did it 80 years and we did it 70 years and we did it 20 and 30 years. That community doesn't have a voice. And so I wanted to be a voice for that.
Title of the film, how'd you come to the title, rest on it, and what does it mean to you now that you've had the ability to see your vision?
Man, that's a great question. And I'm glad you asked that. Jones and When Love is a Habit is really, I believe that every love story deserves a legacy. And so Lorenz Tate and Nia Long set the premise for this, for us to reimagine what that legacy would have been if we saw them grow. And so the premise is what happened if they had a daughter and she was a poet and their relationship bloomed into something beautiful, yet it's coming to an end, and how would she handle that, and how does she handle love in a in a digital age? So jonesing is, it's that old school of just wanting, of desire, of something that you had and you needed, you need it again, but it's not nefarious, it's love, right? And it's in this poetic rhyme of someone that's looking for something old school and a new era.
You know what I loved in the language that you used is if you catch it, you see that there's a habit of love that you're asking of all of us to begin to make.
Yes.
Find somebody, let me show you. I
Yeah.
love in the film that even a brother is advocating for something deeper, not shallowness. Why is it important to kind of demonstrate that even brothers say, well, how about a little more versus a quickie jump
Yeah.
off, all the words that are the opposite of LOVE, love.
Yes. Let me tell you something. It is as simple as this. People believe what you do, they don't believe what you say. I had an old Southern aunt that says, "Boy, you do what you do so much, I don't hear nothing you saying." And so when our acts, rival that, when we know that it is deeper and that there is Black male vulnerability, and even if it's not displayed in as broad as we would like it to be, people just want something a little bit deeper. And so I wanted to lead with that. I wanted to lead with these conversations that young Black men have when they are vulnerable and when their feelings are on the line, and how to get through that and how to navigate through that, but also how people connect. It's not what you say, it's what's unsaid. And sometimes the things that are unsaid can lead to so many assumptions and so many, things that we may think. And we build a more nefarious narrative in our head than what it actually is. Sometimes you just want to say, "I miss you," instead of an argument. "I love you," instead of deflecting. "I need you." Those are vulnerable moments that we all have. Our personal lives mean much more to us, than we would lead on to believe. The first time I got my heart broken, I actually wrote a letter, and I had brought it to my former queen's house, but my ego wouldn't let me leave that letter. My ego wouldn't let me knock on the door. My ego would not let me do it, and it would have changed the dynamics of our relationship, our young love. I probably would have been 30 years married. So my grandmother always said, she said, "When you're born, you look like your parents, but when you die, you look like your decisions." And so every decision that we make is a domino effect on our life, right or wrong. And so those decisions is why we're here now. A decision to write this movie and to finance it, self-finance it, do the deal myself without a studio. Those are huge decisions, but I wanted to look like my decisions before I leave this
I,
earth.
I love the brother is being there for his love. I think
Yes,
the fact that someone can depend on something and someone is a beautiful illustration. Why illustrate to all the brothers that'll watch that it's okay for you to be there? You can be there. You can be in love, but you can be the support of someone who needs you without making it about you.
you're really right on point. We have to get back to that, right? There was a time and a place where we could, as young men, sit down with the men who had been through this, right? They had lived this life that we want. And you may have a cigar or whatever your choice of spirits were, and they would just sit down and tell you how to make it right. And you were vulnerable in that moment, right? But you also had strength around you to say, it's okay to be, sensitive. Just don't be insensitive, right? Towards your mate or the person that you love. So when we get to that vulnerability, right? And we'll be able to have that honest conversation of how we truly feel. We can get some great direction, some great support, and some great love. So we have to get back to that, because when we try to self medicate and internalize, that voice is more nefarious than what actually is. Tell her you love her. Tell her how you really feel. Tell her your intentions, right? Because that can change the difference. And when you love somebody, and this is not a shameless plug, if you make it a habit as opposed to a chore, you're gonna love doing it. It's gonna be consistent each and every time.
What I appreciated by even thinking of Joneses is more like an ode to the art of the craft of wordsmithing, bringing rhythm back to love. Like it's
Yes,
cool to bring her tea every day. It's cool to drop some flowers every week. Just had a
yes,
habit to make sure that you're doing that muscle memory in your heartstring to understand that this music that's coming forward is beautiful. So independent film, I wasn't surprised, and I was actually in full support because I know that that also shared a level of courage for the art and the
yes.
culture and the preservation of its introduction. Talk about how you are preserving both art and culture and just who you are as a brand, Sixx King.
First of all, thank you, because those the direction of what I wanted to convey, through this and the preservation of art. You have to be willing and able to go forward and to not only protect your art, but to be a vanguard for it, to say, this is what I mean, and not by corporate standards, not by someone who doesn't have this lived experience, not by someone that is Googling this experience, but someone who has this lived experience. It's a shared experience. And moreover, you connect with it because you have people that are going down that road, people that have say, that looks familiar. I can connect with that because that's exactly how I felt. You can only get that type of authenticity from someone who is an artist, who has lived that, who has taken the time, not only research, but move in that direction of what they feel the audience wants. It is true connection. It is not off-brand connection. It is not, those that are saying we need to make this top dollar, or economically driven. It is pure art. You have to be able to preserve that. And the only way that I could do that is independently. I had to make it happen. And I did. I mean, I took that route. It was sacrifice. It was great. It was great sacrifice.
Take us in the room. You're gonna raise some funds. There are a lot of individuals. If you would, what are the three things that you would share from any other director, writer who truly has a vision that they want to bring to life, to understanding the three things that you need to have when you're getting ready to have that conversation with the people that have the bag, the money, the funders of your entrepreneurial, given that you now are a founder of cultural treasures and you're, look, I'm bringing this treasure, but I need your bag to bring this treasure to life. What are the three things they need to be armed with?
You have to have perseverance. You have to have those no's. And I think the third thing is sacrifice. Arm yourself with sacrifice. For me, shout out to those who are great at raising funds, right? I always say rich people move slow. So I know that there is a need for now, and that you have to get things in timing. So for me, I approached it with great sacrifice. I sold my car, I sold some personal things, right? I just hit the ground. I turned down no job. I was directing and shooting from birthdays to bar mitzvahs. I had a bottom line of what self-financing looked like. And I'm telling you, it was a sacrifice, because we all enjoy our things, and we understand, hey, I'm attached to this, or I love this, but do I love the art more? And I love the art more. I love telling the story more than my car, more than, personal things, jewelry, or things that I was attached to. I love the art more. So you have to be willing to say, you know what? I can't wait. I can't wait on that grant. I can't wait on that. You have to forge ahead. I always tell people are waiting for a divine intervention when you should be intervening with divinity. And I had some major God wink moments when making this film that I definitely have to share. But I would have waited on this film would have never been made, and it wouldn't have been made in the timing that it needed to be made in. Art is also about timing. When we are great on timing, where we have a country now that is, taking away the Juneteenth holidays, and, sort of this backlash of historical Black accomplishment. Here comes Jonesing, which is clean, which is a celebration of Black love, which is independently financed, which is independently distributed through a major distribution. I went around the studios. Here's this freedom, breaking free and saying, I could do it. That took great sacrifice. It took great sacrifice.
When you found someone, I love the word sacrifice. I think it is a demonstration of divine altar call. I am willing to give up this. I'm
Yes,
willing to put this at the altar in order to achieve this objective. If I place,
yes.
but once you found, who did you see and connect with that actually said, you know what, I can rock with you? What has that been like to find somebody that really wanted to rock you on this project and just say, I'm going to do it. I'm not in this business, but I like the business I like the art you talking about. Let's do it. What was that like when you finally got that miracle that seemed to be like removed from the moment, but all of a sudden it shows up?
First of all, that's a great question, and it is right on point for how this unfolded. So I only had enough money to shoot 3 days, but I had my actors in pre-production for almost a year because I was like, when I get these cameras out, we have to be able, this has to be second nature. So I had a first lead cast. She didn't work out at the last minute. My lead for the film auditioned and got the role immediately and only had enough money for 3 days. And then one day I was opening my drawer and an old birthday card fell out from my mom, and my mom is still with us, thank God. And it fell out and read the card, and it's an old mantra that my uncle, who was my father figure, he used to say, keep on. No matter what goes on, keep on keeping on. That was our mantra. So I was like, you know what? That is going to be my mantra for this film. A few days later, I got another job. I actually sold my car and then got another job on top of that that would allow me to shoot for 7 more days. So I had a total of 10 days to put this film in the can. And on my eighth day, the anniversary of my uncle passing came up, and I can feel his presence. I could literally feel his energy around. And in the film, no spoilers, but in the film, the main character is always giving his love interest a fortune cookie. And so I had ordered these fortune cookies. I picked them up at a local grocery store, and I was holding on to these fortune cookies like, dear God, the box was raggedy, and I had only a few because we had a bunch of takes. And on that day, that fortune cookie, one of the fortune cookies fell out, and I was like, oh God, I was distraught. And I opened up the fortune cookie, and the fortune cookie said, keep on keeping on. And I lost it. I mean, I was crying like I don't know what. And I was like, okay, I get it, right? Because as Black people, we live for confirmation. But I think my uncle was like, I'm going to give you great confirmation. And I'm like, let's go, right? I feel it. The next day, Malik Yoba called me and he said, I read the script. I love it. I know you're a budget constraint. Get me a ticket to Philadelphia where we were shooting at the time, and I'm in it. And so that was the next day. And then the next day after that, I got an email from Nicole Avant, and she said, "Hey, would you like to come to the Six Triple Eight, have a screening in New York?" And I'm like, "Absolutely!" With literally $430 left after paying everyone, right? I was able to make it to New York, meet Tyler Perry, of course, meet Nicole, meet Jerry Seinfeld, meet Ted Sarandonis, the head of Netflix, and just be with them and see this incredible movie. And I'm like, this is, I mean, wow. I'm in the room. I got less than $200 in my pocket. I'm in the room with billionaires, and I'm able to talk about my story in just conversation. And the next day, literally, AMC called me and said, we love it. We love your deck. We love it. We want to partner with you on this for a national rollout. I just, man, I literally just broke down because it was, I wasn't waiting on a divine intervention. I was intervening with divinity and saying, I'm just going to walk forward, right? And my mother, of course, is a praying Black woman, always, every day, just praying, man, for the openness and clearing the road and calling the ancestors and everything that we need to do in this, not only physical but spiritual journey that we're talking, facing it. And that is my story, literally, my story, that I was like, I don't know if this was the right thing to do, like financially, because we know as an artist, it is feast or famine. It's one moment, you're good. Next moment, you want to join a cartel to make get the bills here. And so I'm glad I took this journey. If I only do $1 at the box office, it was something that I set to do. I'm in a league of very few who have self-financed and cut national distribution without a distributor. The only person other than that was Ava DuVernay, Shout out to her. I love her. I love her work. She did it in 2010. So those that are making these bold steps, those who have been denied for so long, we're here. Tyler, you got some help on the way. That's what I always say. You got a super friend. I'm on the way.
Well, thank you, Sixx King. Look at God, and it's
Yes. Look at God.
amazing. For everybody, remind them of the movie they need to go see.
Yes. Jonesing When Love is a Habit, exclusively in AMC, June 13th. You can also go to lovejonesmovie.com and get everything, or on Instagram, Jonesing Movie on Instagram. That's JONESING movie on Instagram to keep up with us. See this young Black love, see this intergenerational love where you and your mom or you and your dad, your parents can go. It's a clean movie, nothing crazy, wholesome, and it gets right to it. And I'm proud of it. And thank you for this opportunity. I'm humbled to be on your platform. I really, really appreciate
We're
you.
proud of you. Continued success, and for all of you, this is an amazing movie, but amazing, brother. So let's show up, show out, and show him some support. I'm Munson Steve. This has been the Director's Chair with Sixx Kings. He has a phenomenal movie coming out, and if you enjoyed Love Jones, this is the next generation's vision of itself and of the love that we all want to continue to grow in our community through the lens of Sixx Kings. I'm Munson Steve on the Director's Chair. Thank you.